Welcome to Mortgage on My Mind, where we take the mystery out of mortgages and make dreams of home ownership a reality. I'm Natalie Salins, a top 1% mortgage broker with 20 years of experience, based right here in sunny Los Angeles. If you've ever wondered about pre-approvals, appraisals, or what loan product is right for you, don't worry, I've got Mortgage on My Mind, so you don't have to. Each week, I'll bring you expert advice, real-life stories, and insider tips to help you navigate California's competitive real estate market with confidence. Whether you're buying your first home, refinancing, or just curious about how it all works, this podcast is for you. So let's talk mortgages, demystify the process, and make your real estate goals a reality. Ready to get started? Let's dive in. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Mortgage on My Mind. I am Natalie Salins, your host. And today we have the awesome Adam Brawer, and he is the founder of Brawer Estates. He specializes in luxury real estate markets in Los Angeles. He has a background in entertainment, so he has this fresh approach to real estate. And he's quickly established himself as a key figure in this competitive LA luxury market. He's known for creative marketing strategies, adept deal-making skills, and the ability to build strong relationships. I know that personally from working with him, and he provides valuable insights for agents as well, especially those early on in their careers. His innovative approach has earned him recognition in the industry and made him a trusted resource for both clients and agents. So welcome, Adam. So nice to see you on here today.
Thank you so much for having me, Natalie. It's a pleasure.
Yes, absolutely. We've known each other for years now in this market.
Totally. I feel like one of the first deals I ever did was with one of our mutual clients.
Gosh,
I can't remember who it was actually, but like a very early deal. Yeah.
how long ago was that? How long have you been in the business?
I got my license on my birthday, December 3rd, 2019. So in a couple months, it'll be my 6-year anniversary.
Oh my gosh, congrats. That's
Cool.
awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah. So a
Right
good
before COVID. What an exciting time.
the best time ever, honestly, just before the rates skyrocketed down.
Exactly. That's a real learning process there for sure. Wow,
Yeah.
amazing.
Trial by fire.
Just getting thrown into it. Yeah.
Yep. Have it no other way, though. I appreciated in entrepreneurship, they say you jump off a cliff and build a plane on the way down. And I
Yes. Yes, exactly. So today I would love to chat with you on a couple things because you are an expert in both. What are the ways in your practice that you can set somebody up? Because a lot of people are letting go of what we call the golden handcuffs right now, right? So they bought during COVID, they've got that low 3 or high 2 rate, and they've been sticking with this rate and afraid to buy something new because of it. And I really feel like at this point, buyers are finally stepping off the ledge of this golden handcuff, of this low rate, and are finally looking to purchase something that actually fits their family better and getting out of that first home and into something more appropriate for them. And because of that, when that happens, we call it buying before selling. So, talk to us about why they should buy before selling and what that means and what makes it why, if they wanted to sell before buying, it makes it difficult to write a contingent offer and things like that. What that means to the audience. Yeah.
Totally. So I can say as a listing agent, I represent both buyers and sellers. And as a listing agent, when I get a contingent offer, I'll call the client and say, listen, I would only recommend that you even consider this contingent offer if we have nothing else on the table and we're in a desperate situation. So many risks associated. My favorite is when you get a contingent offer on a property the buyer hasn't even listed yet. They're like,
Exactly.
we love your house. It's amazing. We're getting ready to paint. We'll be staging it in a couple weeks. And my home's been on the market for 2 weeks. It's hilarious, but it does happen. And it recently happened. And so first I start with education and I tell the sellers, obviously this is not something that I would advise you to take, but again, I don't make any decisions. I just offer some guidance and you make all the decisions you wish. And if I think you're making the wrong decision, I'll harp back in. When I'm representing a buyer who's also a seller, I just had this situation
Okay.
where it was a family. They had two children, one going to college, one starting high school in Woodland Hills. And they lived in Topanga. I won't mention names. And so there was a short time window to establish themselves in Woodland Hills before the school year. One of the parents works in Woodland Hills, et cetera, et cetera. And so I said, okay, let me talk to your financial advisor. Let's see if it's possible for us to set this up as a buy before you sell, because what I don't want is you to find the home that you love. Then we rush to try to sell your home, probably won't trade for at least a couple months. Then there's no chance. Then we're not. I don't write contingent offers. Like I just don't waste my time.
Yeah, it's a hard thing to do, right? Because as even a seller, like how do you feel confident accepting an offer where they have to sell their house first? It's just you are going to extend your timelines by quite a bit in order to do that.
Yes.
Unless nobody else is knocking on your door, it doesn't feel like something that's going to win in any competitive market.
100%.
Yeah.
And actually, this is a really good case study to go into what might be our next talking point, which is how to win a bidding war. I talked to the financial advisor and he said, yeah, they have sufficient assets. They absolutely can buy and they don't have to sell. Obviously they should sell. We don't want them carrying a mortgage on multiple properties for multiple months. So they were already pre-approved, the whole thing, found a property extremely quickly, like within the first few days of searching.
Hmm.
Property, went back multiple times. I did not know the listing agents. And I always like to have a very direct conversation with the listing agent. And I say, especially if it's competitive, excuse me,
No
you
problem.
say, if you were me, how would you write this up? And sometimes they'll give me the keys to the castle and sometimes they won't.
That's smart. That's a really good way. Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, I'm like, obviously what's important to the seller, but like, how would you write this up? What's the landscape like? How far above ask are you currently? We were coming in. It actually really worked to our advantage because we were coming in late. There were already multiple offers on the table, multiple offers over ask, and they were actually planning on reviewing like with either that night. I think it was that night. Yeah, they were planning on reviewing that night with the client. We toured for the second time at about 6 p.m. And I told my clients, I don't know if we're dealing with another all cash off. We're not all cash. I don't know if we're dealing with all cash offers, but
Right.
let's pretend we are. So how are we going to win this? And the listing agent was cool. And she said, we're a bit over ask and I think this number gets it done, et cetera, et cetera. And I said, okay. So she's saying this number. Let's come in slightly above that number, like slightly above that number. The lender basically said, okay, we need maybe 50, they're already desktop underwritten. So we'll rush the appraisal. Like we don't even need 15 days. So I wrote it up as essentially, I did write it up as all cash, actually. Now I remember. I wrote it up as all
Okay.
cash, 15-day close, only the inspection. And I did a longer inspection. Like I did like a 14-day inspection or at least 10-day inspection. And they luckily proof of funds, they had more than enough to technically buy it in cash and blah 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 blah. Everything was like we were very prepared.
Yeah.
And because our offer was cash and there was one contingency.
Right.
There was one contingency, and we actually, the other thing that we did is we wrote a letter. I got information on the sellers, both from the listing agent and from doing research. So we knew family dynamics. We knew like how many kids. We knew that the kids were raised in the house. We knew all the things. So we took a family photo in their back. The second time we toured, I got a lockbox. We took a family photo in the backyard and so they could see our family and or my buyer's family. And we mirrored a little bit about their family was also a blended family two kids from two different parents, second marriages, blah, blah, blah. And anyway, it ended up working pretty well. And then I did have to have a conversation. It's not necessarily duplicitous, but it's when you write up all cash and it's not all cash. But
Sure. I just did it today with somebody. We're doing a cash out refi on his current home.
yep,
It's again buying before selling. We're doing a cash out refi on the current home because it's at zero, like he owns it outright. And he's making an all cash offer on the current house.
nice.
But he's writing an all cash offer. But when I spoke to the agents and I was very honest, I was like, listen, guys, this is an all cash offer contingent on my loan.
Yeah. Oh, contingent on your loan. That's nice of you to say that.
Like it's contingent on me financing this other house for him, not
Yep.
yours. It has nothing to do with yours, but
Yes.
I still need to obtain financing or he's not buying this home because he doesn't have
Yeah.
the cash for it. And he has plenty of money. That's the thing. That's how I'm actually qualifying him. He has no income at all, but he has a nice amount of money in a bank account. So we're doing an asset depletion loan to qualify him. And
Nice.
yeah. And so he's pulling 1.6 million out to then purchase this house in cash. But I did tell them, listen, we don't have to do a loan contingency. We obviously don't need an appraisal contingency because the house is worth 3
Oh, wow.
and I'm giving him 1.6. So even if the value on mine comes in low, we're fine. At least I hope I strive for that. I think that's what it is. You never can tell in this
Yeah.
world of loans, things go crazy. But for all intents, 95% sure we're fine in that way. And I said, but at the same time, I am going to still need underwriter approval. So
Mhm.
like, I don't want to do a loan contingency because you're not getting a loan. There's really no place for a loan contingency in this purchase contract. But I need
Yes.
everybody to have an understanding that before inspections are lifted, I need my loan approval in.
Yep. And how
You
long
know
was
what
your
I mean?
inspection?
What's that?
How long was your inspection?
It was 10. But the agent really, I think she was newer and she didn't understand how to write up the contract. So that's why the listing agent called me. And he
Got
said,
it.
this doesn't make sense to me. It's an all cash offer with a loan contingency. And I was like, oh, is that how she drew that up? Okay. So then we talked about it. And that's why I brought him in. I was like, listen, we don't need a loan contingency, but we need one. There's a loan being handled here and it is
Yeah,
contingent on a loan. So it's not contingent on a sale, it's contingent on a loan. And he totally got it. And so we're doing inspections of 14 days, which is really quite lovely because I could have done it in 10.
that's pretty spacious.
Yeah. That was very nice. But there's not one other offer on the property.
Beautiful.
So we're also not having to be terribly competitive at this point.
Yeah, that's a great position to be in.
It's a good position to be in, yeah. So yeah, one of mine, I don't normally do it that way because people rarely have that much equity in a property. So it's hard to do it that way.
Yeah.
We were lucky he owns the house outright in this case. So it worked or is working too. But yeah, normally for us, there's 3 different ways to finance a buy before sell. Obviously, the best case scenario is that the borrowers have the money that they need to buy new without selling.
Yes, that's ideal.
But that is super rare.
Yes,
'Cause
agreed.
a lot of people hold their money in their homes. Now, there are ways to buy before sell and only put 5% down.
Mm-hmm.
They can put 5% down as long as it's not like a jumbo loan. And then after they sell the house, they recast. Do you know what recasting is?
Recasting? No. What?
So recasting is when you change your monthly payment on the mortgage
Mm,
based on bringing in a really large principal reduction.
got
So
it.
most clients get, I have 5% down, but I'm going to have 400,000 after I sell my house.
So it's similar. It's not a refi, but you're basically, yeah, your
It,
down payment is changed.
it's like it comes later. The down
Yeah,
payment
it's
comes
a late
after
down payment.
closing.
Right.
It's a late down payment. It's not a refinance. It doesn't really cost much. It's a recast. So they re-amortize the monthly payment
That's
based
great.
on the new balance of the loan. It's amazing because most clients are like, listen, I want to offer 1.1 on this. But I don't want to have a loan of 1,050,000. I want to have a loan of 650, which means I have to sell my house first.
Yes.
And I'll say to them, listen, why don't we do 5% down on that?
Mm,
Get a loan of 1,050,000 only until you sell your house.
yeah. So for 6 months or less, you'll be,
Exactly. You'll make three payments,
yeah,
maybe four at this larger amount. And then you sell the house, you get the 400,000, you put that 400 towards your 1,050,000 loan, and now you have your 650 loan
I like it.
and your 650 monthly payment.
Yeah, it's a win-win.
It's a win-win, and it doesn't cost them much more because bridge loans are so expensive.
Yeah, totally. They're onerous. They're
They're unbelievable. They're 3 to 4 points in cost by the time both loans are done. The refinance on the current house to give them only up to 70 or 75%,
wow.
which is
Yeah.
normally not enough anyway. And then they want to do the new loan as well, where they charge again 2 points. So it's like this. I've done two in my whole career. It hurts me each time because of how expensive the fees are.
Yeah, it's like a last ditch.
Ugh, it's a last stitch. And that's why I've done it because there is just no other way to do it. Borrowers don't qualify or whatever it is. But so there's tricks to getting a buy before sell.
I'll tell you a little bit.
Yes.
What we did on this side is we had enough to show that they could technically buy cash, but he leveraged his portfolio for the down payment.
Oh, he did a private credit line.
Exactly. Yeah, he
Perfect.
did a private credit line through his financial advisor. We still haven't, I just, maybe it's 30 days that I've listed the other property. So we still haven't sold that yet. But, and then he did, I want to say a 7-1. Got a pretty good rate and then he'll be made whole. I don't know. I'm curious actually what I imagine it's probably a pretty low rate for the private credit line because he's like, I don't know. I really don't know.
Depends, yeah. So there's two different ways to call a private credit line. It's also called a marginalized account because you're borrowing money off the margin of your portfolio.
I used
Just
to
for
buy
you.
stocks off margin back in the day.
Yes,
Good
exactly.
crack.
It's the same kind, it's risky. It's the
Yeah.
same kind of thing for the audience out there. So a marginalized account is basically if you have some sort of money market account or stocks that you don't want to liquidate, because of course then it's going to cost you taxes and it's not great. But you have, let's say, 500, 600,000 in an account that you can't really touch. It's not really liquid monies. That account and that whoever portfolio manager can actually create a private line of credit or a marginalized account from that account. It's collateralized against that account. So they won't give you, of course, the full amount. If you have 5 or 600,000, maybe they're going to give you like two,
Right.
maybe. And I think those accounts, depending on how much they give you and how much you need, are about 6.5 to 7%.
That's higher. That's higher than I thought.
Yeah,
I
at
have,
least. Yeah.
I did have a client once, very high net worth, and again, this was 2021. And what he did is he leveraged at a crazy rate, and it was a UBS private bank rate. I can't remember, but I want to say it was like low twos. It was like insane.
It's based on the Fed market rate.
Yeah, yeah.
So if it was any time during COVID, even the low twos is high because it was at zero or whatever. Like it was nothing. So
Yeah.
now that it's at 6.5 or so, I mean, now of course it's basically at par.
Yeah. He did a blended rate where it was a $5 million house. I want to say it was like a million down, and then yeah, I can't remember, but I remember between the lender's rate and his private rate, it was still like in the twos. I was like, he just won the lottery, this guy.
Yeah, that's a good, and back then we could do things like that. Also, on a marginalized account, the great thing about it is normally the dividend distribution pays the monthly. So you're
Mm,
not even paying monthly. I bought my very first investment property on a marginalized account on a PCL, private credit line, and I never paid $1 on that account.
Wow.
Never paid $1 on it because my account, whatever money the account was earning, was paying the monthly on
Yeah.
it. And then whatever cash it earned paid down the balance.
Mm.
It was amazing. I
Do you
didn't,
own that property?
I do.
Nice.
I know.
Well,
It's a tiny, weird duplex near USC. So you know that area.
yeah, dangerous, but also a lot of college students.
No college students in my property.
Has there been a homicide on the property? Just kidding. No.
Not that one.
Sweet.
Not any of them, not any of them, but close one night because
Wow.
of gangs and stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's LA. So, anyways, so I was able to get like my first, and honestly, I owe very little on that property, and the value, of course, that it has earned is wonderful. And I was able to buy it on a marginalized account that I didn't even really feel monthly. It's pretty cool.
It's amazing when you have all the tools. So, yeah,
Yeah,
it's a pretty great way to build wealth.
for sure. And we hope to give all the tools to our clients.
Everybody wins.
Yeah, totally. There's two other ways that you can finance buying before selling, which is something like what I'm doing now, where you're pulling cash out of the current house, basically. So you can, if you have enough equity, you can just get a HELOC, costs like nothing, $1 or $2,000. So you get a HELOC on the house that you currently own, and that gives you enough money for a cash down payment on the
Yep.
new one. And
Uh,
then there's,
cash
go
down.
ahead.
Yeah, cash
Yes,
down. Yep, totally.
just for the down. Yeah, yeah. And keep in mind on these loans, though, now you've got three potential mortgages that you have to qualify for. So we have to make sure that all of this works at the same time,
Yes.
right? Because you've got your first mortgage, you've got your HELOC, and now the new mortgage on the new home.
Yeah, a lot of moving.
So
It's important to have a great lender, Natalie.
it's important to have somebody who knows how to structure these kind of things.
Yeah.
Also has good product. So we have a new product right now, which is incredible, which is as long as you have 20% down and 20% equity in the departing res, and I don't have to count any of the debt on the departing res.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
That's huge.
So
That's
it means that those two potential loans, the first loan plus I'm getting you a HELOC on it, I don't have to count any of that debt towards the ratios.
that's amazing
I
because
know.
otherwise it'd be tough for someone to qualify potentially.
It very much so is. So if there is that consideration that they don't qualify, they can only qualify for one mortgage. And now your lender is saying we have to sell before buying
Yeah.
because you can't afford it.
In which
Now
case, you not get the house you want.
exactly.
Yeah.
So now there's not that consideration, and the rates are basically the same as standard conforming,
Mm,
which is great.
fantastic.
I know it's a great product, great new product. And then there is a random product out there that is expensive, but not as expensive as a bridge loan. And that is a loan that they give you on your current property. It's something like a HELOC or a second loan. They give it to you, this company that I work with gives it to you for free. So they literally just give you a second lien. They put the second lien on the home. They give you the money at 0% interest rate, no fees.
No fees when you sell them or
But what they
yeah,
do is because they are attached to the property, when you sell, depending on what the property is, they take 1.5 to 2% of the sale.
got it. For certain sellers, that makes sense.
For certain people, I've done it twice. For certain people, it makes sense.
Yeah.
As long as it's not like a $3 million property.
Yeah. Or a bigger property. You know what? If someone has a bigger property and they need to use that product, they're way too leveraged.
Correct. They're capped too high on it.
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly.
In
And that
which,
one works too because I don't have to count the debt on the departing residents because this program, it's very weird. This investor gives you a contract that they buy the property in cash if you don't sell within 60 days.
interesting.
It's amazing. So for us, because they're buying it for cash,
They do an appraisal, obviously.
They do. But because they're buying it for cash in our eyes, it's already sold.
That's really cool.
So we don't have to count the debt.
Mm.
It's
I am,
interesting.
yeah, it's great to have a lot of tools because sometimes it's a buffet and you need to order interesting items.
It's
I,
true.
I will say on that last version, the realtor might be getting a cut or a haircut on their fee potentially. If the seller's okay, I have to pay 1.5% for the loan, we might not give you 2.5%, Adam. Everything's negotiable.
Yeah, I guess so.
Two transactions, so be it.
I was
If
gonna
it's-
say, or the buyer decides we really want it and we'll give you
yeah,
0.5% higher
that too,
in purchase price.
for sure.
Yeah. Have you been seeing issues at all with appraisals?
No, I've had no property. I have not had one property this year that has not appraised.
Yeah,
And yeah, yeah. I actually, the only one that I was concerned about not appraising, this is an interesting story. Priced it very well. It's in Fullerton. I don't do a lot of business in Fullerton. I think we got 13 offers and went pretty significantly above ask. I created a fourth bedroom on title. It's 3 beds, but there's a pool house. So I built a closet in the pool house and created a fourth bedroom, staged it as such.
it's not really because it's not part of the gross, it's not part of the GLA.
Correct. But I was able to market it and disclose it. And what it did is basically certain families who need a fourth bedroom became potential buyers.
Total.
And that's the competition that drove the price up.
Got it.
And so we did that. We actually opened escrow, very competitive situation, open escrow. Literally 12 hours later, the buyer's agent said, I'm so sorry. The offer we wrote was a buy before you sell based on selling their previous house at a certain price. And we just found out that the house is not worth that price. So what we did, I was so fortunate. We were about to get a backup offer in place, and I called the second buyer's agent and I looked at both the contracts side by side. And the they were virtually identical. There was literally a $1,000 difference. But it's Fullerton. So in Fullerton, sometimes people put 2% down, sometimes they put 1% down. One
Right.
was 3% down, one of them was 1% down. I didn't want to tell the other agent that I hadn't told the other agent that they hadn't gotten the house yet. So they knew it was a very competitive situation. And I said, a crazy situation. The night before, I let her know that it's between her offer and this one other offer. They're leaning towards the other offer. The next day, like 9 a.m., I said, listen, yours is 3% down. Theirs is 1% down, which was the truth. Congratulations.
Right.
We ended up opening up escrow and we got an appraisal waiver because it was 70% down. And that was the only property that I was concerned about appraising because it went so high. But there was maybe one other comp that we could point to that was in the range, square footage wise, in the area. We got the appraisal waiver and it closed, and everyone's happy.
Wow. Amazing. Amazing. Yeah. It's interesting how everyone was so afraid of this new guideline and having to disclose fees, and now buyers can not pay or pay and sellers don't have to pay. It was this whole chaos. You must remember of like everybody was talking about it and it was this massive problem, and why can they now negotiate where it's always been negotiable, which is so silly. It's so funny. And do you feel like it's had any effect or any change?
I would
Maybe
almost say it's been beneficial in a
a
way
tiny
because
bit, maybe? Go
yeah,
ahead.
I'm basically I just did a deal where I got 3% on the list side, and I let the clients know, listen, when I market the property, I do certain things other agents don't do, and I listed all of them. There's a cost to all of them. And in
Right,
order to pay that cost, I charge an extra 0.5%. No pushback, immediate signature. Usually I don't, especially on the high end, I don't ask for 3% because some people offer 2%, even on the high end, for sure on the high end. So I think one thing it's done is it's brought things out into the open where we have a conversation about fees immediately. I love to play poker and I have no issues whatsoever walking away. And there was only one time this year where I didn't get my fee. It was a $50 million deal. and I got a sizable reduction, but it was competitive. And
Yeah,
yeah, is what
of
it
course.
is.
So on something like that, it's
Yeah, no one's paying full. They don't have to.
why would you? That doesn't
Right.
even make logical sense. Yeah. Yeah.
But I've never had, yeah, and even when I'm writing an offer on behalf of a client, there's a go around because in MLS you can't publish, what the commission is. So when you're writing an offer, you're like, well, should I write 2.5%? Should I write 2%, 2.25%? I always ask, what's the seller going to pay? And they're like, if it's at list, they'll pay this. And I'm like, okay, great. So if it's
Yeah.
competitive, sometimes I'll go down a quarter point to make sure my clients get the property.
Right. It was such a massive discussion that I remember even at the time being like, you guys, this does not need to be. I feel bad for new agents who don't have
Yes.
a script to really, or the ability to just speak confidently when people are asking you about it. All it is disclosure, which, like, of course, lenders and title and escrow have always needed to do. For us, of course, that happened when the meltdown happened. They made us start disclosing all of our fees within 3 days, of course. But it's the same thing. It's just about disclosure. But I've been able to talk with clients about it in this very simple way, which is who has always paid the seller and the buyer commission? The buyers,
Right.
not
It's the
the
buyer's money.
sellers.
It's
Because it's the buyer's money. The buyers have always paid both commissions because it's
yes.
based on the net proceed from your purchase on the house. So the seller, yeah, the seller pays it. But no, they don't. The seller actually pays it only based on the amount that they're making.
Yep.
So they
Totally.
only agree to that purchase price as long as those commissions are baked in to the
Yep.
purchase price. And that's how it's always been. Buyers have always paid it. There's no change in that. And how I've seen most people do it from here on out since has been baking those fees into the purchase price from the beginning, always, which is what it's always been. Like
Yeah.
every house has always sold for about 5% higher because that's what the fees are on it.
Mhm.
So it's always been baked into the appraisal costs anyway. When people are like, oh my God, now appraisals won't come in because you're upping the purchase price to pay for the commissions. You're like, no, you're not. You've always upped the purchase price to
Yeah.
pay for commissions because it's always been paid for through the purchase price. It's just such an interesting, if you think of it logically in that way,
Yeah, totally. It makes
you
perfect
know?
sense. I explain it that way to sellers. A lot of first-time home
Mm.
buyers as don't know that there's no additional fee above the purchase price to have an agent represent them. A lot of first-time home buyers will say, "Oh, so how much does it cost to have an agent?"
Oh yeah,
Most of my clients are not first-time home buyers. When I first started, they were. And so I would let them know whether you're represented or not, especially in 2020, there is in the listing agreement specifies what the buyer's agent commission is. So whether or not you're represented, that is coming out of your money. You might as well be
exactly.
represented.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And it's so important too, because when my clients decide to go to a rando open house and not use the agent that referred them to me, and they're like, hey, Nat, we just walked into this open house, whatever it is. The agent's not that ethical, and the agent's if you write directly with me, blah, blah, blah.
Discount. Yeah.
I'm always like, are you sure you don't want anyone on your side? Are you sure you want to handle the inspections basically on your own? And not even that, because I can't help you on inspections. That is so not like I can help you on other things, but don't give me an inspection. It's really something I never look at anyway. I'm not supposed to, but it's really something that like
Yeah.
I can't advise on this. But it's also you don't really have anyone
No
negotiating.
advocate. You've
You
no
don't have
ad.
anyone negotiating. Yeah. What
Yeah.
if there is a foundation problem? The listing agent can go back to their seller, but since they have the fiduciary like morale to give them first their attention, can they really negotiate on your behalf? Where they're like,
Yep. It's yeah, it's interesting. It's very rare that I'll do dual agency. The only times, excuse me, that I've done it, essentially I'll tell the seller, listen, if you're netting a certain amount, like if you're closing at this amount, I basically ask their permission. Listen, if we close at this amount, will this work for you? Or if, I can't remember the last time I did it. Yeah, but it's basically seller, if this is what you're looking for, if we can get you that with this buyer, will you do it for 4%? You'll save a
Right,
percent.
of course.
And usually they say yes. Again, I can't remember the last time I did it, but I remember very much enjoying it when it happened. But it has to be, the challenge becomes if it becomes a contentious escrow. And
Right.
then it's like, all right, let me get a sales manager involved who's 100% partial, just mediate a situation, which I think I've done once.
Yeah, I think it really becomes, yeah, how you handle that negotiation. It's tough. Because then you're like, is that really what your seller wants? But I guess that's the conversation with the seller, which is, hey, you
Upfront.
can
Yeah,
pay
it's over.
less. You can pay less now if you want, but then I'm going to have to become partial to them as well.
Totally. And that's part of the conversation potentially about the counter. It's okay, cool. This is the offer. If let's, but the weird thing then becomes like each conversation with each of the clients, you have to put on a different hat. So it's like,
Yeah.
it's very conflicted.
Yeah, totally. Totally.
I have, in a couple situations, I have had good experiences where like I did, like prior to listing the home, I did represent this buyer. And it just so happened that this buyer is looking for this home. Sometimes those are off-market deals.
Right.
So anyway,
Yeah.
a lot of ways to skin the cat.
This was awesome. Thank
Great.
you. We really took it in different places than I thought we were gonna, which is amazing. Also
Yeah,
nice because I thought it just felt like I was talking to a friend, honestly, because we
great
know each
cat.
other so. I know. So thank you so much for joining us. Oh my gosh, yes. Such a pleasure. You have such a great insight, honestly. It was such a lovely conversation. And everybody out there, we are going to put all of Adam's information in the below and chat and everything. He's got all of it. Website, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube's, all of it. Please reach out to him if you need anything in Los Angeles, especially on the West Side. And thank you, Adam, so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Natalie. It's been a pleasure.
It really has. Thank you. Thanks for listening to Mortgage on My Mind. If you're ready to start your mortgage journey or have any questions, I'd love to help. With 20 years of experience, I make the process as simple and stress-free as possible. Check the show notes for my contact info, and don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share this podcast. Until next time, I'm Natalie Salins, here to help make your real estate dreams a reality.